What's going on YouTube? H-Dub here with Raid Shadow Legends Guides and Graphics, and we have an amazing champion to talk about today that is COLDHEART, one of the most sought after void rare champions in the game. A lot of people want multiple copies of this champion. She just brings so much to the table. Gonna have an awesome infographic for you guys as well, and just look at her overall utility and where she grades out for the various areas. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so here we have COLDHEART pulled up on the AftershockUnited.gg website, which everyone has access to. If you need to go in and look at how we grade any of the champions in the game, you can go onto the website and that'll be linked below for sure. But COLDHEART ranks, pretty high on the list as far as champs in the game, especially for a rare champion, just because she has so much utility in PvE content as far as Doom Tower, as far as dungeons, as far as, anywhere there's a boss, she can get it done. And here is the infographic that I was talking about. Pretty much shows you the sets we're using on her, the current build that we're going to be showcasing in the video, as well as masteries, the blessings that we decided to go with, base stats, how many books you need, the cooldowns on her skills, all that jazz, guys. So definitely want to go ahead and take advantage of all this information that's been compiled, and this will be linked below as well, so definitely take advantage of it, guys. But let's go ahead and get into her kit really quickly. Base stats are not amazing, but her kit kind of makes up for it, and you get to save a little bit on some of these stats you might normally need to get on other champions, and maybe you can make up for it with other rolls on the gear. But the A1 ability attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 25% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff. So heal reduction, obviously very useful for the Fire Knight, especially in the current hard Fire Knight where he takes a lot of turns. Don't know if COLDHEART's going to get a lot of use there, but heal reduction, a strong debuff to use there, as well as against the Nether Spider. But you don't want to use her against the Nether Spider just because, she's going to attack at random. And if you attack these small spiderlings, they're going to counterattack and heal the boss. But heal reduction, nonetheless, solid debuff for those areas. Now the A2 ability is going to attack all enemies and has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 1 turn. Also places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under heal reduction. So this is a conditional skill. You may not see much use out of it, but it is a 3-turn AoE. The multipliers aren't great, so you're probably not going to be building her with much attack. And we'll revisit this when we talk about the blessings again and the blessings you decide to use, because I know a lot of people tend to go for Phantom Touch, but Phantom Touch scales on attack, which is why I don't use it on the majority of my COLDHEARTs. The A3 ability, though, is the reason we really use this champion, and that is a single target decreased turn meter by 100%. Skill also has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Damage increases according to the enemy's max HP. This is an amazing skill. 4-turn cooldown book. You're definitely going to want to book this down to the 4-turn cooldown. Get that damage that you get along the way as well. And like I said, she has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. So you don't have to build her with 100% crit rate unless you want her to crit on her other abilities reliably. But for the sake of the A3, which we primarily use her for, you only need 70% crit rate. So whether you need to use an aura to get that, or, what have you, you can take it a little easy on the crit rate and make up for it with, the accuracy or more speed, because she does have 0 base accuracy, which is a kind of a letdown because she does need accuracy for this decreased turn meter, which is one of the OP decreased turn meters. We have, a few ways that turn meter control happens in the game. You might see some champions that fully deplete the target turn meter, but it's actually how it's coded. It doesn't work the same as the decrease by 100%. The decrease by 100% is actually more beneficial. In order to get the most out of the fully deplete targets turn meter, like a champion like Lysandra, for instance, you're going to want to have the turn meter be higher. That is when a champion like that benefits the most. Now, the 100% is going to decrease by 100% no matter where the turn meter is, but solid abilities for sure, solid champion overall. Let's go ahead and look at the gear we have on this champion currently and see where we're going to be using her in the game. Let's also take a look at the blessings. So this is the COLDHEART that I have built, my primary COLDHEART. She is in 1-piece accuracy, 1-piece speed, 1-piece crit damage, just because I wanted to get the stats on her. I'm not too picky on the sets. I used to run my COLDHEARTs in Savage before we got level 25 dungeons, and now we have the hard dungeons. So now I kind of just go for overall stats and, you know, trying to get the best build, balanced build I can for where I'm using the champion. Like I may or may not have said before, you can use multiple copies of this champion. I feel like most accounts benefit from having multiple copies of this champion. As you can see, I have 3 here at 60. I've also got another at 50, just because there was a comp that I was running for Spider 25 that had 4 COLDHEARTs in it. It was really good. There was no need for a reset in that comp, and it you know, it was an interesting comp. I don't use it anymore, but I had a fun time with it. But the primary COLDHEART here that I have, she has some accuracy, could use a bit more. But you know, just over 70% crit damage, 70% crit rate, 289 crit damage, and a bit of speed at 220. Not much HP, not much attack, and like I said, if you're gonna go with Phantom Touch as a blessing, right, you're gonna want to definitely be building some attack. You're gonna get some attack as well from putting it on her, but the bonus damage from Phantom Touch, you know, is proportional to the champion's attack. And I like to go with Hero Soul just because I primarily use this champion in the Spider dungeon, where, you know, this just seems like a much better option, a much more reliable option as far as the extra damage output you're gonna get. I do have 1 COLDHEART in Phantom Touch, but for the most part, with the higher blessings, I am using them in Hero Soul. Now, as far as the Masteries goes on this champion, you can have some variations with the Masteries. I currently am running my COLDHEARTs in Helm Smasher. A lot of people, when 25 was first introduced at level 25 dungeons, were running War Master. If you're still running, you know, her there, you may still be using War Master, but I put Helm Smasher on mine because I was using them in the hard Spider actually for a comp before I was using the comp that I have now. So Helm Smasher is still on them. It's still a viable option there, but you do want to, you know, possibly check a damage efficiency calculator to see if War Master, Helm Smasher, or even Flawless Execution is the way to go for you if you want to get extra crit damage on them. As far as the T-Fence, you know, the T6 offense mastery goes, but support tree is pretty standard for a COLDHEART. You're gonna want to go ahead and get some extra accuracy on them. You can take Evil Eye if you're going to be using this champion in, you know, Fire Knight, because it always helps to get some extra turn meter reduction, and Cycle of Magic to have that extra chance of getting a cooldown on that random skill. We want a cooldown for her A3 as much as we can get it. You can definitely try to run some refresh accessories on this champion. A lot of people in the end game are definitely running refresh accessories on their enemy max HP skill champions just to have more opportunities for that big smack. But that is the gear that I'm using, the Masteries as well as the blessing that I'm going to be showcasing today. So let's go and check out this champion in the Spider Dungeon. Also want to showcase her in the Fire Knight. So here I have a stage 20 Spider team put together really quickly. This is the team that I use to farm tournaments. I do not farm the higher stages during tournaments just for efficiency. We're going to go ahead and see what this comp does and how, you know, you could build something similar to it on your account. We have decreased defense weakened from Lydia. We have Kymar in for reset. We have 2 COLDHEARTs in for turn meter control as well as enemy max HP hits. And we have a Royal Guard in there for cleanup. Now, as you can see, we get big smacks really quickly from the COLDHEART. Turn meter control. This comp is a very, very fast comp. And the stats aren't crazy, right? This is a level 20 dungeon, but you see that COLDHEART just comes in and she puts in work, doing crazy numbers on the boss. when you get Helm Smasher procs on both, if you put them in Savage, you know, 2 Cold Hearts can come in and just wipe this boss. As you can see, my fastest time is 8 seconds. And that is, you know, usually when 2 Cold Hearts just completely wipe the boss and there's no need for the cleanup from Royal Guard. But there are some, you know, variations for champions that you can bring in. We have Renegade, who is a rare reset champion who you can bring in place of Kymar. In place of Lydia, you know, there are other champions, like there's an Epic Spider who also does decreased defense and weaken. There are some champions who do decreased defense and weaken on separate skills, or maybe you bring in a decreased defense champion, a weakened champion, 2 Cold Hearts, and a reset champion, and potentially get it done that way. It will have a different stat requirement. It will require the Cold Hearts to be significantly faster, but I'm sure you'll be able to achieve it if you are diligent and just work on the build. So I also run a Cold Heart in stage 20 of the Fire Knight. Let's see how this goes for us. So we have someone to help us get through the waves. We're using a Poison Explosion comp to get through the waves. And obviously, you know, we have Cold Heart who's going to come in here and help us to get the shield down on the boss, as well as do a bit of turn meter control on the boss so that we can go ahead and get some extra turns in to get the dub. Cold Heart coming in, knocking down that shield. Heart Seeker, turn meter control for us. And then Zavia is going to come in and do cleanup. So Cold Heart, definitely a damage utility champion, like we said before. She's going to come in, do some damage for you. She has some utility with the turn meter control for you. And, you know, solid champion overall. Really shines in PvE content. So let's take a look at how this champion grades on our tier list, which I said you can find at aftershockunited.gg, right? Champion tier list. It's very easy to find, guys. The link will be below, but here she is. And, you know, she pretty much grades out at a 64.8 because there are areas of the game where you're not going to use this champion. But obviously, like I said, in PvE content, she's going to shine. So a 92 rating in the Spider's Dungeon. Right now, her Dragon's Lair rating is, you know, it's not completely terrible. She is a usable champion. Like I said, if you bring someone in to clear the wave, she can definitely do a big smack on the dragon for you. She also places poisons if you place that heal reduction. So depending on the comp, you know, she can come in and put up some poisons, but it's not going to be the thing that you know, want to be doing. She can't do turn meter reduction on that boss there either. So not the greatest area to use her. Solid Fire Knight's Castle rating. You know, she is amazing there, like we just showcased. As far as the Ice Golem goes, her rating is kind of fair just because you don't necessarily want to be doing a big smack on the boss unless you can account for that with your comp. So maybe you put together a block damage comp, someone to, you know, shield your team or what have you. As long as you have decreased attack, you can come in there and maybe do a big smack. But if you do a big smack, you know the boss is going to big smack right back at you. And if the minions aren't alive, he's going to completely ignore defense and you could easily wipe. It won't be as consistent unless you obviously, like I said, speed tune it, maybe have block damage, maybe have unkillable, maybe have, you know, something in there, you know, to help your, you know, your comp stay alive. Arena, she's not great. Faction War, she is a solid champion for sure. In Doom Tower, she can be used in some, you know, some of the bosses. Like I used to definitely have one built for the Scarab boss in Destroy Gear when that boss was first introduced. She's also going to be used in the Doom Tower secret rooms. There is a rare attack room where she really shines there if you want to throw her in a stun set. Really good champion there as well, but not that useful for Demon Lord, not that useful for Hydra. She can be okay in Hydra, but she's not going to be, you know, a great champion for you. Obviously, someone who can do damage on, you know, heads that swallow your champion, she'll be great there because she does have a single target enemy max HP skill, but that is the thing, is single target, and her other abilities just don't do enough damage to really make a difference. As far as the Iron Twins, I have seen people who don't have Geomancer or some of the other big, you know, enemy max HP skill champions using a Cold Heart to come in and just, you know, be that damage dealer there. So definitely a viable option if you can keep her alive or you have a reviver to revive her. But that is going to be all for today, guys. Hopefully we're able to take something from this. And if you have this champion, or you know you're getting ready to build this champion, you recently pulled this champion, we were able to help you out a bit. But until next time, guys, thank you as always for your support. Be good and be well.